Welcome back to Rooted in the Seasons, where ancient wisdom meets modern life with a strong cup of tea and practical tools for real busy women. I'm Katja Patel, Ayurvedic diet and lifestyle educator, yoga teacher, and teacher mentor. I help women find more calm and clarity through small daily rituals, seasonal rhythm, and timeless wisdom that actually fits into real life. This podcast is part of a wider body of work I offer, including my courses, Stress Less, Live More, where we explore rhythm, nervous system support, and daily practices in a deeper and more structured way. In today's episode, I want to talk about something many people feel every day. We all actually feel it every day, but we don't always have the language for it. If you ever wondered why some days you feel calm and clear, and other days restless, irritated, heavy, or flat, even when nothing obviously has changed, this episode is for you. And if this sounds familiar, you're not alone. You don't need to change everything. Just stay with me here. From a yogic and Ayurvedic perspective, there is a simple but powerful framework that helps us understand these inner shifts. It's called the Gunas. The word guna means quality or attribute. The yoga philosophy and Ayurveda describe three universal qualities that are present everywhere in nature and within us. They are sattva, clarity, balance, lightness; rajas, activity, movement, stimulation; and tamas, heaviness, inertia, and stability. Now, before we go any further, there is one really important thing to say. First and foremost, the gunas affect the mind. The state of mind determines how we perceive, interpret, and respond to life. Body and its systems, digestion, sleep, energy, they follow from there. So when we talk about the gunas, we're really talking about the quality of our inner experience. We don't think the gunas, we experience them. They show up as moods, as energy levels, motivation, clarity, or confusion. And while we are all complex, layered beings, shaped by a lifetime of experiences, this framework helps us notice patterns without judgment. So let's look at the gunas one by one in everyday terms. The first one is sattva. Sattva is the quality of balance, clarity, and lightness. When sattva is present, we can deal with whatever comes without any drama. We see situations more clearly, respond rather than react, and accept outcomes without clinging or resistance. That doesn't mean life is perfect. It just feels workable now that's sattva in balance. Rajas is the second one. Rajas is activity, movement, excitement, and expectation. Imagine a busy workday, planning, organizing, analyzing, setting deadlines. Everything runs smoothly and you feel energized, productive, even happy. Then something doesn't go to plan, something doesn't meet your expectations, and suddenly irritation, frustration, stress. 1 minute life feels great, the next everything feels wrong. That's a rut at work. Now here's something important. Rajas isn't bad. We need it to act, engage, to function. But when Rajas dominates for too long, the mind becomes restless, reactive, and overstimulated. Then there is tamas, the last one. Tamas is heaviness, inertia, and steadiness. In a tamasic state, we might feel flat, stuck, or withdrawn. Motivation is low. Things feel harder than they should. A balanced tamas gives us grounding and endurance. But when it's out of balance, it can tip into lethargy, confusion, or low mood. And again, this isn't something we're doing wrong. It often sneaks up quietly rather than all at once. Now that we've looked at the three gunas individually, this is where things start to connect. The gunas are always in motion. Nothing stays the same. You might recognize this. You feel heavy and unmotivated. Everything feels bleak. Then the phone rings. It's your bestie. You laugh, you talk, and suddenly something shifts. Nothing outside changed, but your inner quality did. This is why we're not meant to feel amazing all the day, all the time. And this understanding alone can be deeply relieving. Ayurveda also observes the gunas through daily rhythm. Early morning tends to be more sattvic, quiet, clear, spacious. Daytime is more rajasic, busy, outward-facing, active. Night carries tamasic qualities, heaviness, slowing down, rest. If we're stuck in just one quality, life wouldn't work. So rather than fighting the gunas and our mental fluctuations, yoga teaches us to recognize their play. This is something I see again and again in my teaching. At the start of every yoga session, I invite students to check in, not to analyze, but to observe. We look at the body, the breath, and the tone of the thoughts. And very quickly, the dominant guna becomes visible. Sattvic thoughts feel calm and clear. Rajasic thoughts feel busy, rushed, analyzing, maybe impatient or critical. Tamasic thoughts feel heavy, resigning or withdrawing. Whatever shows up isn't a problem, it's an information. In a yoga class, that might mean adjusting to how we practice, softening when the system is low, or refining attention rather than pushing for depth. In daily life, it helps us to approach situations with more appropriate expectations. And awareness is often the first shift. Now, here's something that surprises people. The gunas don't just show up in our thoughts and energy. They're also deeply influenced by what we eat. From an Ayurvedic perspective, food affects the mind via the body. It shapes digestion and energy. Yes, but also the clarity, restlessness, or heaviness in the mind. And that is abstract. It's something many people notice once they start paying attention. Just recently, a student said to me, I've realized that when I eat very spicy food, I feel more irritable next day. Is that connected? And yes, it is. Food with strong pungent or stimulating qualities, like chilies, very spicy meals, coffee, or excess sugar, tend to increase rajas. So they can show up as restlessness, impatience, irritability, or a mind that won't quite settle. For some people, this feels like mental sharpness at first. For others, it tips quite quickly into agitation. On the other hand of the spectrum, very heavy foods, large amounts of meat, stale or highly processed foods, or eating late at night can increase tamas. The mind might feel dull, sluggish, or unmotivated. Thoughts can become heavier, more resigned, less clear. Again, this isn't about right or wrong. It's about noticing cause and effect. And this is where the traditional emphasis on sattvic food starts to make sense. Meditators, yoga practitioners, and those following contemplative paths have long favored sattvic food. Not necessarily because it's pure or morally better, but because it's neither agitates nor dulls the mind. Sattvic food supports clarity, steadiness, and sensitivity. It makes it easier to observe the mind, to meditate, and to respond rather than react. And if you're thinking, so what does sattvic food actually look like? I've shared a simple shopping list in the show notes so that you can explore in your own time. So when the aim is mental clarity rather than stimulation or sedation, food becomes a powerful support and not a distraction. And what's important here is this. The same food can affect different people differently, depending on digestion, season, stress levels, and overall rhythm. So this is never about rigid rules. It's about learning to listen. So now we've explored how the gunas show up through food and how they affect the mind. The question naturally becomes, can we work with the gunas consciously? In short, yes. But this isn't about adding more. It's about choosing what supports the mind right now. If rajas is high, we invite calming sattvic influences like walks in nature, yoga, tai chi, meditation, pranayam, and food of sattvic nature. The more sattvic quality we invite, the faster we shift. If tamas is dominant, we need stimulation, like eating rajasic food, because the system needs stimulation. Or we need a vigorous yoga practice. Surya Namaskar, for example, is excellent. From rajas, we shift into sattva, movement, breath, light structure before settling. Think rhythm, not rules. Consistency matters more than intensity. How can we bring it all together? So if you remember nothing else, let it be this. The gunas shape the mind first. The body follows. None of the gunas are good or bad. Awareness creates choice. And small, steady shifts matter. This is exactly the work I explore more deeply in the Stress Less, Live More course. Learning to recognize inner states and respond with the right kind of support rather than pushing or forcing. You don't have to figure this out on your own. Let's land this gently. You don't need to do all of this. One small step is enough. Thank you for listening to Rooted in the Season. If this episode resonated, you'll find the links in the show notes, including my free 5 quick Ayurvedic fixes to move from scattered to steady, and the sattvic shopping list. And if something in today's episode stood out for you, you're very welcome to leave a comment or reply by email. I always read and reply to them. Until next time, stay rooted in the seasons. Thank you.